Hanji, Sat Sri Akal everybody. And ਅੱਜ ਦਾ show special hai. Special kyun hai? Because it's about something very close to me. What is that thing? That thing is something I thrive on. मैं उस चीज़ ਨੂੰ promote भी करदा हां. मैं उस चीज़ साਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ कहना कि study भी करो. मैं उस चीज़ ਦਾ इस्तेमाल भी करदा हां. ਉਹ चीज़ ने मेरे बचपन ਵਿੱਚ भी रही आ, मेरी जवानी ਵਿੱਚ भी रही आ, and ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੀ middle age ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, and ਮੇਰੇ ਬੁਢਾਪੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਰਹੂਗੀ. And I want my children to have as much passion for that thing as I have. What is that thing? It begins with P. It's not parathe. It is Punjabi. Punjabi language and how we can pass it down to our future generations and how it can help in our dharam and our religion is the topic of today's show. Now, anyone who knows anything about me will know I speak my language very well, or so I'm told. What they might not know is I can read and write my language. I'll give you a little history about myself. Because I speak Punjabi clearly, a lot of people think that I shayad India's jammia, but actually that's not true. I 1975 ek chota ya shahar hai Essex de vich, Romford, utthe main jammia. And all my life I grew up in a little village in Essex called Rainham, which was mainly white dominated. When I went to school, my secondary school, there was only me, the only Punjabi kid in my whole school. ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਸ environment ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ grow up ਹੋਏ ਆ. ਉਹ environment ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ grow up ਹੋ ਕੇ you're going to say, well, Harjap, how did you get so close to your language? How close do you get to your Punjabi? Why do you speak Punjabi properly if you went to an all-white school or mostly white school? And how do you speak Punjabi so well? Well, my mum and dad were first immigrants. So all India to aaye sige, and they didn't know any Punjabi at school. They didn't know any English at all. They didn't know any English because school hi nahi gaye. So they didn't go to school that much. They didn't pass their 10th. They hadn't done their GCSEs. They come from India. They're farming people. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ. So in our house, we used to talk Punjabi primarily. On top of that, we used to listen to Punjabi songs. I used to watch Hindi films, Punjabi films. Mere Mittal once, he's actually my childhood hero. And appa all language dekh ke, sikh ke, appa learn kiti hai. My mum and dad refused to learn English. And even now, the only words of English they mainly know are thank you, sorry, please, excuse me, hello. And they used to say, rely on us to translate for them. Etthe tak ke I remember, and a lot of you will do the same, when a phone call comes, or came when we were young, then your mum would pick it up. She'd be there for 2 minutes going, yeah, okay, yeah. And then after 2 minutes, she used to get the phone to me and go, Harjap, koi gora bolda, mainu pata nahi ki kehanda, tu gal kar. And I'll be like, oh mum, phir tenu 2 minute ki ho gaye, yeah, no kar di nu, ode naal. So we as children of first generation immigrants, we acted as translators and interpreters. By the age of 9 or 10, we were corresponding with the councils, local authorities, and other things. We were writing letters for our parents. And we could only be effective communicators je sanu apni language da pata siga. One summer, I was 14 years old. And a summer holiday sigi 6 weeks there. We used to look forward to it. And I was bored. And I said, Mum, I'm bored. Yeah. And Mum goes, Punjabi sikha dandi. Now, because we grew up predominantly in a white area, we didn't have local gurdwaras. Our local gurdwara was Grays, which was 10 miles away, or Barking, which was 10 miles away. So in Rainham, we never had a gurdwara. We never had Punjabi classes. We never had Punjabi teachers. So my only source of Punjabi reading or writing was my mum, and in 6 weeks, she taught me how to read and write Punjabi. I dedicated myself to my language, and I read and wrote Punjabi. And I learnt it. And I learnt it to such an extent that in 1991, in the London Borough of Havering, I said I wanted to do a GCSE in Punjabi. Now, there were no reading materials, no books about it. Only one person in this country wrote books and materials about it at that time. That was a person called Jagat Singh Nagra, J.S. Nagra, G, who I treat as my ustad. He wrote books on GCSE Punjabi, A-level Punjabi, and he also wrote the exams. He was also the person responsible for bringing A-level and GCSE Punjabi into the curriculum and have them as GCSEs. You might not have heard that name. Do you know why? And it's a shame to our community that you haven't heard that name. It's because we haven't celebrated him enough. We haven't honored him enough. We haven't respected him enough. We haven't awarded him enough. कोई singers आंदा ना इंग्लैंड च आपां नूं 10 रुपए देई दिया, ट्रॉफी देई दिया, कदे कुछ लंचां ते बनाईदा, कदे डिनर ते सद्दीदा। पर एक व्यक्ति जी जिन्हां ने सारी उम्र अपनी बैटल कीती आ GCSE ते A level पंजाबी नूं लियाउण लई, इंग्लिश ते बाकी हिस्ट्री सबजैक्ट्स दे मुकाबले विच लियाउण लई, उन्हां दा नाम हैगा जगत सिंह नागरा। रिमेंबर दैट नेम, रिमेंबर दैट नेम। कॉवेंट्री च जी हजे भी हैगे आ ते उन्हां दा नाम बड़े आदर नाल लिया ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਦਿਲ 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਜੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੀਰੋ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗਿਆ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਊਥ ਹਾਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ ਲੈਣ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ। ਰੇਨਮ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ 2 ਘੰਟੇ ਟਰੈਵਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਵੈਸਟ ਲੰਡਨ ਤੇ ਸਾਊਥ ਵਿਰਦੀ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਸਟੋਰ ਸੀ ਐਂਡ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਿਲਦਿਆ ਸੀਗੇ JS ਨਾਗਰਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਬੁੱਕਾਂ। ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਲਈਆਂ, ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ and I did a GCSE Punjabi in the London Borough of Havering in 1991. I was the only one who sat that exam. There was a big hall, school hall. I was sat there on my own on a chair and there were 3 teachers there. And I said to them, I said, why are you 3 teachers there? Tusi ek raho, I can't copy anybody. Tusi 2 chutti maro, glass pani piyo jaake. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਆ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਡ ਆ, ਤੂੰ ਕੱਲਾ ਹੀ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ 3 ਜਣੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਬੁੱਕ ਪੜ੍ਹੋਗੇ, ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੂੰ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। I sat the exam. I got an A grade for it. 2 years later, I decided to sit the A level in 1993. 2 years later, I was the only one again in the same school hall, same teachers doing A level Punjabi. For that wasn't about learning Uda Ada. That was about reading Punjabi literature. Piran da Paraga, I had to read by Shiv Kumar Batalvi. Bhai Veer Singh Sundari is a book I had to read. Pavitr Papi by Nanak Singh, I had to read. And there were essay style questions in that exam. I did it and I got an A grade. Only one in my borough, in that London borough of Havering. ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ Havering 'ਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ, some of you might be watching, ਔਰ ਤਾਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਹੀ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਕੀਤੇ। ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ has been the cornerstone of my life. ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ has been a cornerstone of my success. ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜੌਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ 50% ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦਾ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇਸ TV ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ 'ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ 'ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਬੈਠਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਫਿਲਮਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਮੀ ਸ਼ੇਰਗਿੱਲ, ਨੀਰੂ ਬਾਜਵਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ, ਫਿਲਮਾਂ ਬਣਾਈਆਂ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਕੀਤਾ? ਕਿਉਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦਾ। So that Punjabi has been a cornerstone of my life. However, I'm very disappointed to note that ਅੱਜ-ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਜੋ ਬੱਚੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ A level and GCSE ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, the numbers are dwindling. ਆਪਣੇ ਜੋ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ of ਪੰਜਾਬੀ origin, ਜਾਂ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਆ, ਸਿੱਖ ਆ, ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, more of them sit French GCSE and German GCSE and Spanish GCSE than they do Punjabi GCSE. It's not enough to listen to Punjabi songs and go like that. That doesn't make you Punjabi. If you want to really become Punjabi, then endeavor to do the language. A lot of you can do GCSE Punjabi and you have a lot more facilities than we did. We just had JS Nagraji's books and we had our mums who taught us Punjabi. You've got the internet, you've got YouTube, you've got all these facilities, animations to teach you Punjabi. And we're going to show you these in the show as to what teaches you Punjabi or not. There's no excuse now for you not to do Punjabi. The key point I'm telling you this is, if not enough of you uptake GCSE and A-level Punjabi, the government is proposing to scrap it. They're going to scrap Punjabi. All the things that we fought for and J.S. Nagraji fought for and dedicated their life to is going to go. Because why? Because we can't be bothered. Let me tell you another thing. When I applied to go to Kingston University to study law, I said I have 4 A-levels. I had history, politics, and English. And I had Punjabi. Do you know what they said to me? They said, we're not going to consider your Punjabi grade. They go, we don't consider that. And I said, why not? They go, that's your native tongue. And I said, actually, my native tongue is English. And if that's the case, then all these English people, you're accepting their English A-level. Why won't you accept my Punjabi A-level? They wouldn't accept it. Now things have changed. That extra A-level gives you an advantage. It gives you extra points. That extra GCSE is counted. But that was the struggles we had back then in 1993. Yeah, 20 years down the line, our kids still aren't taking the Punjabi GCSE and A-level. अपने बच्चे पंजाबी नाल टुटदे जा रहे आ एंड आपां दी कोशिश की आ मेरा मैसेज यही है जी कि आपां तुहानूं दस्सांगे तो आपां कोशिश करांगे कि साडी एज अ कम्यूनिटी जिम्मेवारी ये आ that we should get our kids into Punjabi. We should get our kids to take these exams. We should get our kids to read and write Punjabi. We should get our kids to do this. How many of you my age can't even read your own land document in Punjabi? I can read mine. I can read all of yours. That was thanks to my mum teaching me. You can't even read your own. You don't even know how much land you own. Don't sit there now cussing me at home just because I'm telling you the truth. It's the truth. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ your chache, master, tae, pulling one on fast ones on you because you can't even read. When you get off at Chandigarh Airport or Amritsar Airport, you can't even read the advert. Yeah, so we can do that. There's ability in us. If I can do it, and I was the laziest student out there, then I'm sure you lot can. And je aappa nahi kar paye na, then let's not make our kids like ourselves. Let's make them better than ourselves. If you want your kids to be like you, you're not progressing. You should always want your kids to be better than you. And I want all the Punjabi kids out there to be better than me. And I want them all to be better than you. And we can achieve that. And aappa ek karange. This shouldn't be our responsibilities, but it is. This should be the responsibilities of the leaders in our community who have got heavily funds. Jina ko enne paise paye a. Apni community de leader millions of pounds de utte baithe paye a bank accounts de vich. ਭਾਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੇ ਬੈਂਕ ਅਕਾਊਂਟ ਆ ਮੰਦਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੈਂਕ ਅਕਾਊਂਟ ਆ ਚੈਰਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬੈਂਕ ਅਕਾਊਂਟ ਆ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਬੈਠੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਮੁਰਗੀ ਉਹ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਲਾਉਣ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਧੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਜੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਆਫ ਚਾਰਜ ਐਟ ਅ ਲੋਕਲ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਿਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਫॉर ਫ੍ਰੀ ਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਾਇਆ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਨੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਸਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਸੇਵਕ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਦੈਨ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿਖਾਓ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੀਏ ਟੁਡੇਜ਼ ਸ਼ੋ ਜੋ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਇਜ਼ ਡੈਡੀਕੇਟਿਡ ਟੂ ਆਵਰ ਚਿਲਡਰਨ ਦ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਅਗਲੀ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਧਾਉਣਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਜੀ ਵਧਾਉਣਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਧਰਮ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਆ ਆਪਣੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਨਾ ਸੁਣੋ ਜੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣਨੀ ਡਸਨਟ ਮੈਟਰ ਆਈਵ ਗੋਟ 20 guests coming on the show ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸੂਗੇ ਲੈਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਫੇਲ ਆਰ ਕਿਡਸ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੋ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੁਹਰਾਈਏ ਨਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਫੇਲੀਅਰ ਨਾ ਬਣੀਏ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੌਕਾ ਦਈਏ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਹੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਲਾਈਏ ਸਵਾਲ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ GCSE ਤੇ A ਲੈਵਲ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਕੋਈ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਗਹਿਣੇ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਖੋ ਸਕਦਾ। ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹ ਗਿਫਟ ਦਈਏ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ। ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਇਸ ਮੈਸੇजेस ਵੱਲ, ਤਾਂ ਹੋਪਫੁਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੇਰਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਵੀ ਸਮਝ ਆਇਆ। ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਮੈਸੇਜਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ।